Hello, students. Welcome back. Last week and yesterday, we discussed the Crusades, the Christian attempt which ultimately failed to take control of the Holy Lands and Jerusalem. What we did not discuss last week was that the Crusades were part of an earlier, world-spanning, and longer-lasting trend towards interconnection and contact between the many civilizations of Africa, Europe, and Asia. This interconnection between the civilizations of the Eastern Hemisphere was mostly driven by trade and commerce and produced what was known as the Silk Roads, which we will discuss more at length next week. For now, you should know that the Silk Roads were trade routes that connected one end of Eurasia, in other words, China, to the other end, Western Europe, and mostly peacefully. They are known as the Silk Roads because silk was one of the most valuable of the goods then traded. Finally, you should know that the spread of Islam greatly accelerated and expanded the reach and extent of the trade routes, the Silk Roads, including in Africa, which is our topic today. This week, our focus question is, how did the spread of Islam change West Africa, grow the Silk Roads, and expand the Afro-Eurasian world? In short, we will learn that around the year 1000, West Africa and other parts of Africa, south and east of the Sahara, these areas here on this map in the background here of the upper half of Africa, this area here I'm pointing to, south of the Sahara, became part of the Islamic world in this period and grew even wealthier and more powerful than they already were. Second, we will learn that West Africa became closely connected to the Silk Roads. And finally, we will learn that out of all this process emerged an increasingly connected world, stretching from the northern and southern Atlantic Oceans all the way east to the Pacific Ocean bordering China and Indonesia. We saw earlier in the course that Islam had arrived early on in North Africa, this area here, around the year 700. For a while, the Great Sahara Desert, which spans this huge area here in Africa, separated North Africa from other parts of Africa, and therefore blocked Islam from spreading for a while. But by the time period we're discussing, around the year 1000 CE, Islam was spreading to West Africa. And it spread mostly through trade conducted through the Sahara Desert, peacefully, not by conquest as earlier in North Africa. Remember, the Muslim Arabs were master merchants. The Prophet Muhammad himself was a trader by profession, and the business-friendly character of Islam is part of what explains its great success during its golden age. The arrival of Islam in West Africa profoundly transformed it. The new religion changed the way of life of West Africans, who were now integrated into the Islamic world. In time, a brilliant civilization emerged, known as the Empire of Mali in this area here of West Africa. Its capital around here, Timbuktu, became a very rich center of commerce and trade. But not only, one of the earliest of the world's universities was founded there, making this part of West Africa one of the most sophisticated and scholarly parts of the world. Mali's 14th century king, Mansa Musa, portrayed here, became so famous in Europe that he was represented in this detail of a Spanish world map as one of the world's great leaders. You will learn more about Mansa Musa tomorrow. He was the richest man of his time and was famed as such. A second closely related effect of the arrival of Islam in West Africa was to tie this part of Africa closely to the hemisphere-spanning network of trade routes known as the Silk Roads, which you see here on this map. What you have in front of you is a map of these trade routes, which refer to the trade routes that connect by land or by water China and India to the Islamic world, the center of this map, and further west to Europe. The trade routes that crisscross the Sahara, we just discussed, now connected West Africa, but also sub-Saharan Africa to an extent, and East Africa to Eurasia. In other words, to Europe and Asia. Finally, we reach the third important outcome of the spread of Islam to West Africa. illustrated here in this map. What we have emerging now is an increasingly interconnected world in the Eastern Hemisphere, a world we may refer to now as the Afro-Eurasian world. And in the making of this world, at the center of this world and at the center of this map of the Eastern Hemisphere was Islam, a religion which now spanned a huge area stretching from the southern Atlantic all the way to the southern Pacific Oceans. Thank you and see you soon.